I don't know if any of y'all remember, but a while back I mentioned going to a bookstore with, I think she was my girlfriend at the time, not my fiance. Uh, but we stumbled upon a little section of the store where I found, to my surprise, a few Go books, and I picked up a couple of them, and one of them that I picked up is called Go Proverbs Illustrated, and I looked at it and I thought, okay, this book, and I flipped through it. There was a couple beginner books there, and I thought, okay, these books I don't really need. I feel like they're a little too fundamental for me. This Go Proverbs Illustrated book, I look through it and I'm like, okay, there's some stuff in here I don't understand. I'm definitely gonna pick this one up. But then I left it on the shelf and haven't really cracked it open very much. And the other day I looked at it again and noted who the author was. And the author is Segoe Kensaku, who, if you paid attention to the Go jokes that I've been telling, this is the teacher of Go Sagan. Like, I have a book, and I didn't even know when I bought this book that this was written by the teacher of Go Sagan, also the teacher of Cho Hun-hyun, by the way. And that's really cool, and this is motivating me to actually pay a lot more attention to this book. I mean, that's a pretty impressive resume for Segoe Kensaku to have taught some of the most legendary players of all time, if not the most legendary player in Go Sagan. He's frequently thought of as such. So this Go Proverbs Illustrated book, it's what it sounds like. There's just a bunch of proverbs, and it's illustrated, and I think and explained, obviously. But I think it's necessary to explain and illustrate a lot of these proverbs that we use as Go players. We have all these shortcut proverbs that make sense in some situations, but not in many other situations. So that's kind of what the book is about. A couple of them are like, and it's translated by John Bauer. The first one is 6 die, 8 live, and 4 die, and 6 live. And that's a very fundamental one. Some of the ones I've never heard of are like, beware of the clumsy double contact. So that's one I don't know about. Here's one that you'll instantly understand if you know what this is. The monkey jump is worth 8 points. It's good to know. There's one that's like, if you don't understand the ladders, don't play Go. And then, of course, there's some classic ones that everybody mentions all the time, like the Panuki is worth 30 points. And then there's like, I think this one looks pretty interesting. Knight's moves win running battles. Well, I have a lot to learn with this book. There's a bunch of proverbs. Funny thing, though, at the back, there's a picture of Segoe Kensaku in the back on the jacket. And this is a pretty beat up book that I have. And it's kind of like, I don't know, the cover is a little ripped. It's not in the best condition, but I looked online and this book is going for like 80 to over 100 to like $200 for a copy, as is such with many Go books, because a lot of them are out of print and very difficult to find. So I'm very lucky to have this and have found it at a bookstore. This is why I like to go to like random bookshops and just kind of peruse the eyes. You never know what you'll find. Interestingly enough, though, I've been to dedicated like Japanese bookstores and I haven't found Go books there. So I don't know what's up with that. By the way, you're listening to Starpoint, the show about Go for Go fans away from the board. And the funny thing about the jacket thing that I mentioned, it says the author Kensaku Segoe is an honorary 9th grader, and he has been a member of the association since its organization in 1920, which is, I think that's a funny way to say 9dan. Not 9th grader. He's a 9th grader. And it's It's just an interesting detail. There's a picture of him in black and white in the back, and it's it's a nice little find that I have. So, let me give you guys an update on my past week and go. Last week, after making such a big deal about making a study plan and sticking with it and making some time for Go and stuff, I ended up not playing or studying Go in the past week at all. Instead, I have been I've been studying Spanish and guitar mostly. So funny how that works out. I think the thing is that I chose certain times for those things, and those times were not taken up by other things that came up in my life. I had had a busy week. So the times that I had reserved for Go, I just wasn't able to get around to it. And honestly, right now, the time I'm recording this, that is actually one of the time slots for Go. So often happens where I would normally play Go, but here I am recording Starpoint. Yeah, hopefully that changes. This is just kind of an off week for me, and I'm able to get back into the Go stuff. But the other stuff that I wanted to talk about was that in my correspondence games, I still play those. I've been playing some really, really bad moves. Like, I might D-rank. I might go down to 3Q. I am 2Q right now, and I've stayed here long enough that I feel comfortable in saying, like, okay, I've made it to 2Q, and my next goal is 1Q. But I haven't been paying enough attention to my moves lately. I kind of play a little haphazardly. And some of them are just simple. Like, the thing is, the correspondence games, you really have no excuse for reading mistakes because you have all the time in the world to do all the reading that you need to do. But I have been making a few reading mistakes, and some really rudimentary ones, some embarrassing ones, and been forfeiting a couple games because it's really hard to motivate yourself to go on with a spoiled game and just try to, like, I don't know, there's just seems no way to finagle a win out of it sometimes. But that's another thing where, like, some of these mistakes are so bad and they feel worse when they don't come from a place of lack of understanding, right? Like, you don't understand the concept. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Am I supposed to push this way or that way? I don't know. So I'm going to push this way. Oops, that's wrong. And I lost the game because of that. I feel like those kind of losses you can learn from, you can process, or if you still don't know after the game, you can ask someone, or you can think about it, you can sit with it. But the games where you lose because you made a terrible mistake or a blunder that you shouldn't have made, those feel terrible because, like, it seems that you can't learn something from it. Because if it's a silly mistake, then you really should know that already, and you do know that already, but you just, for some reason, was unable to execute at the time of playing the game. So this kind of mistake, I don't know how to improve. Like, with the lack of understanding thing, if you don't understand a certain opening or attacking principle, you can go ahead and study that. You can look at other games and try to figure that out. But in terms of a mistake where you really should have just known better, and you do know better, and that's why it's a mistake, I guess you just have to keep playing games and round those mistakes out. Unless it's a mindset thing where you have to focus on the game more. And I think I definitely have to do that. Maybe this is a symptom of that. The lack of attention that I'm giving the game. Ever since I did that Have I Lost My Respect for Go episode, I feel that I have improved quite a bit at the game, and just giving myself more time to think through the moves, make solid judgments, and form opinions about the board, I feel like a stronger, better Go player. But it's been dwindling, and I think I've gone back to my old ways. And so I think I need to re-inspire myself and go and watch one of those pro games again and watch the pros think deeply at the board and realize that I need to do the same thing. But Yeah, this kind of moment, it kind of just turns me off to a correspondence game sometimes because they stick with you. You know, like you make mistakes in a correspondence game, it drags on for days, for weeks even, and it can kind of be a heavy weight. One thing that I've been trying to do, or rather not do, while I'm playing correspondence games at least, is not look at the rank of the player that I'm playing against. Because the way I have it set up right now, I don't know if it's because of the tournaments that I'm playing or if I'm playing ladder stuff, but I play a range of a lot of different ranks from 20 plus Q to Don level, right? And so I've been trying not to look at the rank and look more at the board before I play my move, because what I find is that I'll kind of have a bias towards certain moves based on the player's rank that I see on the screen. If I see a move and I look at the rank and I look and see that the player is a very strong player, I might just go, oh, that must mean something powerful, and I'll treat it that way. But if I see a low rank, I'll think, oh, there must be something wrong with that move. And that's really not a good way to play Go, because strong players make bad moves and weak players make strong moves. So you should really be analyzing the board and not the person playing the move. So I've noticed that I do that, and I take seriously the moves that are played by high-ranked players, and I don't take seriously the moves that are played by lower-ranked players. And I don't think that's a good thing. So I'm trying not to let that affect my judgment. And I'm trying to, and it's also good to prevent yourself from playing like a weaker player, because if you kind of look at a weaker player's move and you're just like, oh, that's just a weak move, then I don't need to try that hard to play this game because I'm going to win because I'm a stronger player. Then you start playing bad moves, and maybe you will still win. Maybe you're strong enough that you will win, but that weaker player still deserves the best from you, and they still deserves to see what kind of moves that you do play. I mean, what's a game between a weak and strong player if the strong player doesn't play strong moves? As a weaker player, if I'm playing against a higher level player and they're not taking my game seriously and it's a close call and they somehow edge out the win because they just know how to win the game, I don't think that's a good use of my time. I think a better use of my time is if that stronger player really respected the game that they were playing against me, and put more thought into the moves and actually allowed me to see what the thought process of a stronger player is. And so through that game, I can learn. Through that game, I can see what it's like to play a stronger player. A lot of other things come out of the game other than just the win-lose results. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to play like Akira Toya's father, who was the Meiji in Hikaru no Go, playing and giving respect to everybody who comes up to him and challenges him. And I want to be more like that. So I'm trying to do that. And I'm starting by not looking at the rank. If I'm playing like a matchmaking game, of course, that's going to just be around my rank. But that's one of the things that I love about correspondence games, is that I can play people of all different ranks, and I can see how crazy the games can get, how difficult the games can get, and it's great. But there is that downside of bad moves just dragging on. I found an article. It was an interview with Cho Hun-hyun. Pretty crazy. Legendary figure. If you don't know, he is like, I would call him the first superstar of Korean Go, the one who kind of brought life to Korean Go. And he's featured he's portrayed in the movie The Match that I've mentioned a few times, that I haven't been able to find a way to see yet, but I will find a way eventually. But this interview is of Cho Hun-hyun, and they're basically doing this promo thing. It's from a news source called the Seoul Economic Daily. It was a Korean article, but I've had it translated, and maybe I can just kind of read through it and react to it. So let's see, what Cho Hun-hyun has to say. And then it's kind of subtitled, Cho Hun-hyun, the real-life protagonist of the film The Match. Cho Hun-hyun, the legendary Go master and former National Assembly member, was interviewed at his home in Pyeongchang-dong, Jongno-gu, Seoul on April 7th, where he shared his thoughts on the film The Match. If you don't know, he also has a life in politics. I don't know much about it, though. And then here's a quote from him. People say we're on the decline, but I think right now entering a super-aged society is when we need Go the most. Go helps prevent dementia, doesn't cost money, and can be enjoyed by people of all ages and genders. I think that's well said because, oh man, I saw this Kurzgesagt video on YouTube recently about how South Korea is kind of imploding because they're just not having babies. So the population of Korea is just going to be a whole bunch of old people in the future, and that's not good. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but it's a little scary. And I guess, I mean, if everyone's old, they might as well play Go, is what he's saying. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Go, among other things, obviously, helps prevent dementia. It's a good way to just exercise your brain and keep it sharp and use it. So Cho, the real-life inspiration behind The Match, remarked during the interview with Seoul Economic Daily that although Go is difficult at first, once you learn it, it's more enjoyable than any other game. If you've watched the movie, I recommend you to take this opportunity to give Go a try. Yeah, I can see that. I think there's this just big hurdle for Go players, for Go beginners. In the beginning, it's just so confusing. Like, just the concept of imagining stones appearing on the grid, it's just so hard. And then you start playing, and then your stones just pop out of existence all of a sudden because you played something wrong and you have no idea. You didn't see that coming at all. It's very difficult. I think many of us forget how difficult Go is when we first start. But once you get past that, it's like a language. It's like you can just kind of flow with it. You don't have to think too much about it. And it's amazing. And that's why we play Go. Released on March 26, The Match has surpassed 1.4 million viewers. Set in the 1980s and 1990s, the film dramatizes the rivalry between Cho and his former student, Lee Chang-ho. It's effectively Korea's first film to tackle Go head-on. Cho said he's happy the film is doing well, calling it a well-made movie. Go is a game played, this is a Cho Hun-hyun quote, Go is a game played in the mind, so acting it out requires inner expression. I was half excited, half worried about how that would come across. The release got delayed because of COVID-19, but in the end, the actors pulled off being pro-Go players wonderfully. You can tell it was well-researched, especially actor Lee Byung-hun. He really felt like me. Oh, Cho Hun-hyun, we all know the release wasn't delayed because of COVID-19. But because of a certain scandal, a drug scandal of a certain actor that you just haven't named in this quote. But that's okay. I understand media pressures and all. Go listen to the one of the previous episodes where I explained that. But basically, there was a drug scandal and it delayed it, and it made me so frustrated that I couldn't watch this movie for the longest time. But now it's seen the light of day, and I'm happy. Cho entered the professional Go scene in 1962 at the age of 9, the youngest in the world, and became Korea's first 9-dan pro in 1982. After winning the prestigious Guksu, or national champion title in 1976, he held it for 10 straight years. In 1989, he defeated China's top player Ni Wei-ping in the inaugural Ing Cup, cementing his status as a Go emperor. Well, if you guys pay attention to the show, you would know a lot of this already. His student, Lee Chang-ho, who would become his greatest rival, moved into Cho's home in 1984. Their house in Pyeongchang-dong, shown in the film, where they spent the final 1 to 2 years living together. We started living together in Yeonhui-dong and spent about 6 to 7 years under the same roof. Cho said, I originally planned to send him out when he turned 20, but he won a world championship at 16. I couldn't justify keeping someone who had already surpassed me under my roof. It'd be ridiculous. So, if you guys don't know, in Korea, Japan, I assume China, although I've never heard of it happening in China. Back in the day, I mean, it's got to be, right? Back in the day, the training for a Go student who is on the path to becoming a pro was this really cool apprenticeship model where you would live with the master who taught you, and then you would do his chores and things like that. I don't know too much about it, but that's basically all I know is like that's what they used to do. They just have students move in, and then they would just teach them, like live together, teach them nonstop, and they would help around the house. The film focuses on their master-student relationship. Cho lost to 15-year-old Lee in 1990 and gradually lost all 10 of his titles, becoming titleless. He likened the emotional toll to the death of his parents. It was that painful, very hard to endure. You know, when we see professional players fall from grace, you kind of just go, oh, you know what? That's what happens. You know, when you're the top, someone's gonna overtake you eventually, and we just kind of move on like that. And you don't really think about what these players might be going through emotionally, and it must be hard. It must be pretty hard because I take it hard when I just lose a game sometimes. So, just to be on top of the world and then just have that taken away from you might not be so easy to handle. Cho Hun-hyun quote here, "It's rare in any field for a teacher and student to fight over the top spot. In Go, it's customary for the teacher to step aside for the student to take over. But our case was unusual. I stayed on top too long and Chang-ho rose faster than expected." He managed to come back in 1998, defeating Lee. "At the time, all I could think about was surviving," he recalled. "Maybe that's why people respected me. I focused so hard on Go that I even quit smoking, despite having smoked several packs a day." Known as a heavy smoker who lit up constantly during matches, Cho said, "After matches, my head felt full of smoke. It wasn't healthy, and tobacco regulations were just starting, so I quit, not because of wins or losses." So he quit smoking because of his health, but then he just said that he focused so hard on Go that he quit smoking. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I thought he was saying that he wanted to get better at Go, so he quit smoking to clear his head. So I'm not really sure. Anyway, unlike the film's depiction of a strict teacher yelling, Go is about momentum. Cho claims he didn't interfere much in Lee's development. Though they were teacher and student, their styles diverged sharply. Cho was aggressive, the spear, while Lee was calm and defensive, the shield. "I didn't do anything for Chang-ho," he said. "A teacher's job is just to provide a safe environment. I treated him how my teacher treated me. Go is something you have to figure out on your own. You can't just be taught." Ooh, that's a big one, big quote to drop. I think some of us refuse to be taught, and we don't like being taught, and we don't like to listen to people trying to teach us, and they have their own problems. But some of us just want to be taught, and they just want to be instructed, and they don't really think for their own to figure out Go on their own. And those players also have their problems. But you see that, I mean, at the top, obviously, right? If you're trying to beat the best player, you need to find something in the game that best player couldn't find. And how are you going to find that if there's no one above that best player to teach it to you? And I think that is also true on a microcosm level for us amateurs as well, where we don't necessarily have the best teachers around us to teach everything that they know to us. And those teachers are often flawed and don't know a lot of things as well. So Go, if you want to be better at this game, you do have to form your own opinions. You do have to figure it out yourself and build an identity on the Go board. And I think that's kind of what Cho Hun-hyun is saying here. The comment about Cho being the aggressive spear and Lee being the shield and defensive thing, I've heard that Lee Chang-ho actually did not have that style until he kept on losing to his master. And it kind of prodded him to change his style into a defensive style, and then he became the Stone Buddha, and basically people criticized him almost for just being too boring on the board, but just winning every single time. Cho, on the other hand, Cho Hun-hyun was very much commended for his clever and insightful plays, his Tsujis and things like that, and an aggressive style, which is why I've always been kind of interested in his game. Continuing, Cho entered politics as a proportional representative in the 20th National Assembly and effectively retired from professional play, but his passion for Go remains. He even proposed a revision to the Go promotion law establishing November 5th as Go Day. Although he rarely plays now, he is still a respected figure. Currently, he's ranked outside the top 100 pros in Korea. So when he said Go promotion law establishing November 5th as Go Day, I'm wondering if those are two separate things, where the Go promotion law has to do with the ranking promotion, which I do think needs an overhaul. Go ranks need to be more merited, like in terms of like the actual skill level of the players rather than number of wins. I mean, number of wins can be a separate stat, but I don't know. It's hard because that's such an old tradition, so it's hard to change that. But we managed to see Fisher come into the world of Pro Go, so I think anything's possible. And then because the confusion here was whether promotion was for that or it meant for like promoting Go to other people. But November 5th as Go Day. I wonder how widely that's celebrated in Korea. Probably not a whole lot, but I will mark that in my calendar, and maybe we can make November 5th Go Day in the States as well or something. Rather than a personal comeback, Cho hopes the film will reignite interest in Go. He also gently offered advice to the divided political landscape. Even on a Go board where fortunes shift constantly, there's no one-sided game. Just as Go is called hand talk, where you understand your opponent without words, I hope politics can also find harmony through reconciliation and compromise. If you guys are out of the loop in what's going on in Korea, oh man, the president tried to instate martial law and basically take over Korea, and that backfired. People protested, people were angry, and eventually it led to the Supreme Court, or I don't know what they call it, the top court or Supreme Court. The top court, impeached him 8-0, kicked him out of office, and that was a big deal. So I think that's kind of what he's referring to here. The beauty of Go is, and that's the end of the article, and I was reading something else that I will read for you another time. So that's the, I feel like this guy, he's got so much wisdom. He's lived life and thought about Go and what it means for such a long time. It's nice to see him getting some flowers from this movie, and I don't know how they portray him, but it must be not too bad for him to like the movie, right? Of course, obviously, they're going to dramatize the movie and make it like add some stuff in there, add some flair in there that never really happened, but oh man, I really want to watch the movie. I'm glad to hear that it's doing well in Korea. I asked my mom about it. I actually went up to her and I was like, hey mom, there's this Korean movie that I really want to watch, and she already knew what I was going to talk about. She was like, oh, the one with Paduk, and I was like, yep. And we wanted to look into that theater that was nearby, the Korean one, but it's not open. I don't know why. It's I don't know if it's closed indefinitely or just temporarily, but yeah. Anyway, I'll sit here waiting patiently. I think it's a lot easier to wait for this movie now than it was before, when I didn't know if it was going to make it out of the like scandal hell of the stuff that was going on back then. So I'm just happy that it's out. I'm happy people are seeing it. I can't imagine this is going to be as difficult to find on this to stream as something like the Go Master movie that I mentioned. Is just, it's like you got to pay like $300 to find like a copy of the DVD or something like that. I want to watch that movie, but I can't. I don't know if I'll ever watch that one. But this one, oh man, I'm so excited. I've already told you guys. Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? I hope you guys enjoyed that article. Sometimes I find an interesting article in Korean or Chinese or Japanese, and we unfortunately don't have a whole lot of news in the Go world for English speakers. So maybe I'll do something like this every now and then, just kind of read through a news article that's not just like pro stuff, because pro news is just basically, oh, this person won and this person lost, and then, you know. But that was an interview with Cho Hun-hyun, the real life protagonist of the film The Match. Let's learn to watch Baduk TV. I feel like the last two terms that I talked about are kind of confusing because they're kind of similar sounding, and maybe we need another review of those terms. So before I tell you again, how about, let's see if you remember. Which one is 눈 먹자? Which one is 눈 먹자? And then the other one, what does 날 읽자 mean? 날 읽자. If you said the first one, 눈 먹자, was large knight's move, you are correct. And then 날 읽자 is the knight's move. And if you're having trouble remembering those, well, you can just watch more Baduk TV and you'll see them say 날 읽자 whenever it's a knight's move, and you'll hear them say 눈 먹자 whenever it's a large knight's move. But if you want a little mnemonic, it's not a good mnemonic, but it's one I just came up with. 날 읽자 kind of sounds more like knight's move, while 눈 먹자 has like a more ooh sound. Knight's move, 날 읽자, right? Does it work? I don't know. Maybe. Hopefully you can recognize these two terms while watching Baduk TV. One of the great things about these movies about Go that come out, or just any media that come out, whether it's like books or anime or shows, more Go players, right? A lot of people like to watch these things just out of interest, and then they a small portion of them actually are interested in the game, and then they go and look it up and start to play, and we get a small influx of new players each time. And I feel like as anyone who has spent time in this game, improving and learning, the more Go players there are, the more enriching it is for the rest of us, the more value our stock has, if you want to put it that way. All of our knowledge means more when there are more people who want to learn about Go and play Go. And so that's why I think it's in the best interests of most Go players to just want more Go players in general. And that's why we have to celebrate these moments where Go does get a small spotlight or two. And now it's time for the DDK Advice Corner. I don't know why my tone changed like that. But the tip of the day is evaluate even the most obvious moves. This inspired by my own play. When you play a move, sometimes it's just such an obvious move, like, duh, I have to connect here. Duh, I have to protect this or I'm going to die. Sometimes they're obvious, and sometimes it's like a super like ingrained shape move and you just play it. But take a moment to evaluate it, even if it's super obvious. Take a few seconds to make sure, meditate on the move a bit, and read a few things here and there. Really ask yourself and slow down the pace just a bit, especially if you're playing a Byoyomi game where you have the time and it's going to refresh anyway. Take that time and evaluate that move, no matter how obvious it is, because it's just good habits. Sometimes you'll find something critical. And how many games have you had where you just played a move because you thought it was the best move without thinking and it lost you the game? If your answer is not many times, then well, I don't have anything to say to you. But that's the tip of the day, and now it's time for listener mail. Merrick writes, "Hi Justin, in episode 81, you mentioned the team aspect in an individual sport like Go, and how you wish that there will be more of this in the future. You also mentioned the Nongshim Cup as an example. Isn't the Korean Baduk League also fitting in that category? You're right to point that out. I just haven't followed the Korean Paduk League as much. I think it's not as publicized, and so that's why I'm just not as aware of it. But I think, I think that does fit that category. Me personally, I love following the games of the Nongshim Cup and also the KB League. Especially the KB League games are the games with the short time setting. A game only lasts between 20 and 40 minutes. It's exciting to watch, and I'm able to watch a full game live from beginning to end. You can also pick your favorite team and root for them. You've got me intrigued. I might actually try to figure out when the scheduling of that is and see if that's something that I'm interested in. I'm also wondering, I think the teams change every season, right? Are they randomly assigned? I need to learn more about the KB League. It's interesting. In Germany, team sports are huge. For example, soccer, handball, volleyball. Don't you guys call it football? Are you adjusting your language for me, the American over here? If so, thank you. Maybe it helps growing the popularity of Go in North America and Europe if we focus a little more on the team aspect and all that comes with it. Team colors, team logos, merchandise, sponsorships, annual drafts for the new pros. Thank you for the good work. Best regards, Merrick. Well, thank you for your listener mail and your kind words. That's why the transatlantic tournament is a pretty exciting one between North America and Europe. It's kind of like our own version of the Nongshim Cup almost, but it's at a smaller scale for sure. I do like the idea of adding more of a team thing. I think that's the thing is it's with these individual sports like tennis, it's hard to root for a single person. It's not hard. You can be a fan of a certain player, but the team aspect of it is just more community oriented, and I don't know, because Go, I have mixed feelings about it. I feel that having a team might be a little bit hard to commit to as individual players, because they're gonna always treat their individual games more important than the team games, I think. And then maybe you could have a fantasy league, a fantasy Go league. That'd be kind of interesting too. But a lot of interesting thoughts about how to make Go into a team game. There's Rengo obviously, but I think in Hikaru no Go, the 3v3 tournament format that you see that they play in is a pretty interesting one, and I would love to see more of that. I'd love to see that happen in the AGA somewhere, like an AGA tournament, team tournament. That would be really, really cool. If it can't be rated or whatever, I don't see why not though, right? But just a team tournament would be pretty interesting, although it would be very difficult to get enough people to find enough teams to organize it, I think. At least where I'm around, there's not that many Go players. But a lot of interesting ideas that could be used. Thanks again, Merrick. Pitman writes, this is about the 4 houses of Go. Which was the house of main characters, which of the villains, and which 2 were totally irrelevant? The house of main characters is definitely the Honinbo house. Villains, I don't know. The only villain I mentioned was Honinbo Joa, and he was part of the Honinbo house, so I think it's either got to be the Yasuis or the Inuis. I don't know what you're referring to, so I'd love to know, so enlighten me. Thank you for writing in, Pitman. And then my boy writes, I really enjoy learning about Go history and culture. Me too. I'm more than just a Go fan for the Go game. Some people just like the game. They don't really care about the history and culture. But I love the history, the culture, everything that surrounds it. I mentioned shogi last week, and I'm going through the tutorials of it, and I learned something very interesting about shogi culture. It's the way they put the pieces down. This is something that isn't in chess culture, as far as I know, but there is an order that you should put the pieces down, very Japanese of them, to put certain pieces down on the board before others in a very specific order. And not only that, but there are 2 styles and there are 2 methods of putting pieces down. One is in, out, and then the pawn's in, out. The other one is in, out, and then the pawn's left to right, and then oh my goodness, it's very, very Ritualistic is the word I would use. And to think that Go's like nigiri and the top right corner tradition was like a tradition-based culture. Chogi has this whole ritual of how you put the pieces down. It's pretty crazy. I thought that was very interesting because it was covered in the tutorial. Sadaharu writes, nice to have another history lesson. Oh, I wouldn't call it that, just me reading Wikipedia, basically. I wonder if the current surnames came from those houses as well. I think if we were to look at the world as a whole, we already have each country representing a house. But the difference is that each house has different rules, and there are way more politics since the house is across the border. I think having houses or factions is good because fighting for the team or even just supporting the team you love feels different from just playing individually. It will be good if there was a unified rules with less politics though, so that we could all play peacefully with conflicts only on the board and not outside. Very much agreed. And yeah, in a way that like the current international scene of Go is kind of like the houses and factions. And maybe that is also another way to introduce that whole team aspect, right? Because maybe since it's an individualistic sport, I guess, a mind sport, it's hard to get like team games going, but you can have organizations try to come up with the best players and then put those best players up as representative of those organizations, which is it can work, I think, but definitely not perfect. Continuing, about Correspondence Go, I'm sorry, but I play really slow, lol. I didn't intend to play so many games, but it just ended up piling up. Now I'm desperately trying to cut down. Oh my goodness. Well, if you want to cut down, you can't be offering people to play games like you did. I think live games are still more helpful in improving the game, but playing Correspondence at least allows me to think about moves without playing an entire game. So I guess that's the benefit of it. No worries at all about playing slow. I've got a big bunch of Correspondence players, and then there are the ones who play really quickly, the ones who play really slowly, and it's just whatever you want to do. So that's what's awesome about it. It's very casual, very relaxed, and you get to just play. That's so funny. You have like over 200 games, and you just tell me you didn't intend to play so many games. That's so funny. If you want to cut down, unfortunately, you just have to stop. You just have to stop accepting games, stop joining tournaments, and just like finish the games that you're playing. Eventually, they'll go away. One time, I had so many games going on, and then I just didn't feel like playing Go for a while, so I resigned a whole bunch of games, and that's the way I went. But that's not the best way to go. But OGS did build in that system where if someone resigns too many games, it just annuls them. Which is also not a perfect system, but I guess it's better than nothing. Same with Correspondence. It's like not the best way to play Go only, but it's better than not playing Go, so that's why it's good. Thanks for writing in, as always, Sadaharu. Faran writes about the Four Houses one. I'm going to enjoy this one, even though 30 minutes seems a bit tight. Take care. I'm sorry that my episode was short. But sometimes you're going to have to deal with it because I just don't have that much to say. But thanks for listening regardless. I'll try to do more. It seems like a couple of you likes the history stuff. Maybe I'll try to look into do more history stuff. And then also thank you to Spiros for your nice comments. I just want to tell you that you're recognized. The question of the week this week. Maybe I'll pull something from the listener mail that we've had this week. What kind of team organization for Go or team play style for Go do you think could be an interesting way to set it up? Do you think maybe there is a team tournament style that could be interesting? Is there a team variant of Go that you know about that you think might be an interesting way to play Go? Let me know, and then let's see if we find a way to get that excitement of sports, professional sports, into the world of Go. So let me know about your thoughts on that question, or if you have another unrelated Go comment to share, or you want to ask me a question, leave a comment wherever you found this episode, or email me directly at starpointpaduk@gmail.com. That's starpointbaduk@gmail.com. If you're a YouTube listener, I would greatly appreciate a like and a subscribe. If you're a podcast listener, reviews and ratings also help. A very special thank you to James B. and Tristan for supporting Starpoint. If you want to support the show, go to ko-fi.com/starpointpaduk, that's KO-FI, or check out the Starpoint store at store.starpointpaduk.com. You know why the tray of brownies was left in the shape of a plus sign? It's because the Go players took the corners first. Thanks for listening. Keep playing Go.